Hey everybody, it's Heidi Hope and it's FAQ Friday. It is a workshop week, so we are super tired. We've been talking for 3 days straight, and I've been teaching since 7 o'clock this morning. But I didn't want to leave you hanging this Friday because you may have noticed I totally skipped out on last Friday because Sean and I took a nice little weekend anniversary trip to Newport, which was fabulous. So I've got your questions here this week. I can only answer a couple, so I put them in a bowl so we could just pick them out randomly. If you gave us a question this week that I don't get to this week, please resubmit it next week because there were a lot of really great questions, and I wish that I had time for all of them. So I would love to hear them back again next Friday when we'll be broadcasting again, and I'll be broadcasting from Maine, actually. Okay, so let's get to this week's questions. Thank you to everybody who sent a question our way. So reach in and pick one out. I've got, let's see, Octavian asks, hey Heidi and team, do you give every client a sneak peek if they want one? Do you always offer it? Yes, we offer every client a sneak preview if they want it, and they decide if they want it or not. So putting it in a sneak preview means it's going to be online, and it would get shared to social media, and so they can choose, and we have lots of clients who don't want their images online, and that's totally fine too. So it's up to them. It's a service we provide. If they choose yes, then we would do it a week after their session date. Great question, thank you. All right, next from Annie and Eric. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer all these juicy questions. I have a simple one. I'm just wondering about your boards and planks. How long do you recommend for the floor or wall? Also, what color are they? One more. I lied. Where did you find and how did you make your gorgeous blossom branches? Thank you. Would love to see a tour of your prop storage sometime. Okay, so first, if you want to see our tour of our studio, you need to come to our studio, like all the workshop attendees who just got to see everything. And there's some pictures. Actually, there's a lot of pictures on our main website, HeidiHope.com. Okay, the Barnwood. This is, well, I don't know. Let me see. I'm 5 feet tall. I feel like this is probably another 4 feet above me. It's probably like 8 to 9 feet tall. Which is taller than the average human, so it's tall enough for all the dads and moms who stand in front of it. And then I painted this cream. The other side of it was like a natural brown. And then the Barnwood that we have in our other shooting room is like a gray. It's like a whitewash that turned to gray. So they're just washed in different colors, so we have some options. Then we also photographed all this Barnwood, and you can buy the images, you can buy the replica of this Barnwood through our friends at Photo Prop Floors and Backdrops. They make vinyl backdrops and floor drops, and we actually ordered a bunch of vinyl ones of our own wood for our own studio because it's just way easier to move around. Okay, great questions, thank you. Okay, Christine Robin asks, my question is, during a typical shoot, my shutter speed often drops below or is around 100, which I think is too low and is impacting the clarity or crispness of my images. If I recall at your workshop in June, where my images looked great, our shutter speeds were in the 200 to 300 range. Any advice on my settings to keep my shutter speed, say, above 150 so I get more clarity with my images? Is the solution setting my ISO higher? Generally speaking, I'm shooting in good natural light, similar, though not as nice as your studio. Okay, awesome question. So first, let me tell you the rule of shutter speeds. The rule of your shutter speed is that it should never be slower than 1 over the focal length of your lens, as a rule. So if you're shooting with a 50mm lens, it should never be slower than 1/50th of a second. So you would never want it slower than 1/60th of a second because there is no 1/50th. If your lens is 100mm long, then you wouldn't want it to be less than 1/100th of a second. So it goes like that. So your shutter speed number, basically, that you see should never be smaller than the length of your lens that you're shooting with. That's the rule. But when you have moving subjects, especially like toddlers that you're chasing after, or that's when you're handheld. Sorry. Back to the rule. That rule is for when you're handheld. When you have a tripod, you can go slower without camera shake. So it's basically like your lens, you just camera shake alone, just you physically holding the camera, it should never be slower than that. When you're chasing a subject around, something's fast moving, you should really go up from there. So that is like the bare minimum. So I like to be in a higher range because most of my subjects are very busy little besides newborns, they stay still for me. But other than newborns, my subjects are busy. I'm busy, obviously not using a tripod because I'm chasing after them. So I want to go with higher shutter speeds just to be safe because I really don't want to miss the shot. So 200 to 300 range is great general rule of thumb for the low end of what I want to be shooting at with my subjects. I'm very comfortable in that range, and I don't want to go much slower than that unless it's like, you know, maybe a newborn or a situation where I know I can nail my focus. So tips for getting that. Obviously, there's 3 ways you let light in your camera: your ISO, your shutter speed, and your aperture. That's the little exposure triangle. So if I need my shutter speed higher, there's 2 things I can do: adjust my aperture or adjust my ISO. So for aperture, I can use a smaller f-stop number or a wider aperture to let more light in, or I can increase my ISO. If I'm in a situation, I kind of set my aperture first because I want to control my depth of field. Then I look at what my shutter speed would be at, and if it seems too low, then I would jack up my ISO. I want a low ISO if I can have it, but if I can't, I would rather get my images in focus and boost up my ISO. So I would sacrifice my ISO first because I'd rather have a grainy image than an out of focus image. Does that make sense? Okay, so thank you. That was a really good question, getting all technical on me, but I'm in my workshop mode, so I'm ready for it. All right, Natalie asks, I know you supply the cake, but what do you do when a parent wants to bring their own cake? Do you let them? So the cost of the cake is included in the cost of the cake smash session fee, which is more than our regular session fees. So essentially people are paying for the cake and decor. That's like a service provided to them. So if they want to bring their own cake, that's okay. They're still paying the cake smash session fee because it's, you know, the decor and also all the extra images in their gallery. So they're welcome to bring it. But since they're still paying for the cake and decor and cake smash element, nobody really wants to buy or make their own cake and bring it unless there's a food allergy. So they are welcome to bring a cake. They're welcome to bring a cake anytime, but nobody ever wants to unless there's a food allergy. So that's how we deal with that. All right, I'm going to do 2 more. Here we go. Ellen asks, this question is perfect for workshop week. When did you start teaching workshops, and how did you know you were ready to teach other photographers? Also, just ordered 3 of your backdrops and so excited to start using them. This is a good question too, and actually I just recently got an email that was kind of similar to this. So this is sort of a tough one to answer because I don't know you personally or the level where your business is at or whatever. I started teaching workshops of this kind, in-person workshops, 1 year ago. And I had considered it for a long time because I actually used to be an art and photography teacher. So my degree is actually in art education. Teaching has always been a huge passion of mine, but I really was so busy in my business that I never considered teaching on this scale because I didn't have time to take away from my shooting schedule if I wasn't shooting. So I would have had to, you know, price workshops extremely expensive to compensate for shooting. Makes us a lot of money here. So I can't just not be shooting. We finally got to a place as we've grown as a business. We have a 2nd photographer, Mariah. We're bringing on a 3rd photographer. We have an amazing staff who we would never be here without. And our business is really down pat. And I honestly got to the point where I had so many photographer friends who I felt were kind of struggling with the business end of things. And I had some mentors who made a big difference in impact in my life and like learning to value myself as a business and seeing my time as valuable, especially with a young family. And so I just kind of got to the point where I was sort of helping a lot of people anyways get their business in a better place, and I felt like I was really ready to pursue that as a passion. So I got invited to do a few things like speak, and one of the first speaking engagements I had, I did it and I was done, and I was like, I just felt like that meant so much more to me than even the pictures that I take. So it's definitely a passion. I feel like it's just who I am in my heart, and so I knew I was ready when I was beyond a doubt, like this is what I need to do with my life, and we'll see where it goes. And then I had to obviously structure it into my business plan. So we have a really strong, successful business here, and I had to sit down and say, okay, if there's going to be time that I'm teaching away from the Heidi Hope business, how do we restructure our business plan to incorporate teaching into it? I'm never really teaching because I needed to. I'm teaching because I really love it. And a lot of times it's not even as profitable as just being here in my business. So it's just sort of for my own fulfillment and because I really love connecting with other people and other photographers. I don't know. I hope that answers your question. How do you know when you're ready to teach? I think you just ask yourself if it's something you're really passionate about. It's a lot of hard work. It's long hours. It's long days. I think, you know, do you feel that you're skilled enough? Do you feel that your business is solid enough that you can really add value to a big market of teachers out there? And if it's something in your heart that you know that you're born to do and you love it and it's fulfilling to you, then I say go for it. Okay, one more. Danielle Stevens says, I really think you should come to the UK to do a workshop. That might be these days. I'm feeling traveling vibes. So I don't rule it out. Do you have one item that is your best-selling product? Do you have a secret selling tactic you'd like to share? And to be cheeky, what would you say is your favorite thing about your studio? Okay, these are 3 questions, but I'm going to answer them all because they're good. And it's our last ones of the day, so I'm going to put my bowl down, a big bowl of paper. Okay, so first, what is your best-selling product? I think organic bloom frames are our best-selling product. Our clients love them. Almost everybody leaves with a piece of wall art, so it's either an organic bloom frame or a canvas, but they really love organic bloom frames. We do our prints through WHCC. It's a fantastic product, and it's a really high-value product that a lot of other studios don't offer, and it really sets us apart. So people are all about organic bloom frames here at our studio. So I'd say that's our best product. My secret selling tactic is my husband, Sean, because he does all the sales appointments. So he just loves people. He loves working with them. He loves helping them decide on their portraits, and he's just good at what he does. So that would be that. And I would give a runner-up for the most important selling tactic is believing in what you do, believing in your product, believing in the value that you provide to people, believing in your work. And when you're passionate about what you're doing, it sells, and it's not salesy, and it's honest because it's coming from who you really are. And so selling becomes easy. It's a natural extension of your beliefs. Okay. And finally, what is the favorite thing about your studio? Oh, this is so hard. I hate picking favorites because I love everything. But I would say the people, because I feel like we just have an awesome team. It's a lot of creative people that work together. It's a positive environment, and I feel like all these people working here allow me and all of us to just come in and do what we love every day, and like we've built our dream job. And so I think they're the best part of it, and we wouldn't be here without them. And then I also think we have a really awesome light. The light's amazing for natural light portraiture. So that's 2, because I can't pick one. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us this week. Sorry it's a short one, but please, if I didn't answer your question this week, resubmit it, and I will for sure answer it next week when I am broadcasting live from Maine. So have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.